So now I'm going to stain this top. The color I'm going to use is Kona. It's Rust-Oleum stain, which is strange to me. But this is the darkest stuff I can get. There isn't any, like the dark walnut by Minwax isn't nearly as dark as this. People like it really dark. I do too. So that's what I'm going to use. Notice I have the bottom side up. Don't forget to stain the bottom, or like I said before, your wife will call you cheap. To watch me very terribly put on gloves. The worst. Not handicapped. I'm not even drunk. These are just terrible. Too small for my giant hands. So you need something to wipe it off with. I might be insulting your intelligence. You might already know how to do this, but if you don't, I'm going to show you. It's really stupid easy. So you get it. This is the bottom, so you don't have to do that great because you're gonna have all these. Because I don't play in the bottom, so you have all these holes and stuff. Don't care. Actually, that's not even a shot. See, I was painting it on. Do a little bit, and then just wipe it off. It says leave it soak for a little bit. It doesn't make a difference. This stuff is more like paint than stain. It's really thick, so. If you're using the Minwax stuff, let it sit a little longer. That stuff does darken up. But that's basically it. I'm just going to go over the whole thing. Go. Makes kind of a mess. The gloves, I used to not do this with the gloves, but it is hell to get it off your hands. So get some rubber gloves, it's just easier to clean up, and I probably won't get cancer as fast. Probably, we'll see. Alright, I'll show you when it's done. Okay, this is stained. It's sat all night, well, 24 hours. Now it's ready for polyurethane. A couple things about polyurethane. There's other things that you can use if you're doing something fancy, like some fancy bowl or some shit, shellacs and whatever's. I use polyurethane for pretty much everything because it does the job I need it to do. It dries the fastest and it works great. It's really good protection for stained wood. It'll make it waterproof. It's great for a coffee table, end table, even kitchen tables. There's better things, don't get me wrong. You can get the two-part epoxies, they're super expensive. If you're doing like a kitchen table, you might want to look into that. But for what I do, it's the perfect thing. A couple things about polyurethane. So, Minwax polyurethane, I always use satin. I don't like it too shiny. This is still pretty shiny though. So this is the one that I use. Don't shake it, stir it, or just whirl it around because you get air bubbles. You don't want air bubbles. The other thing, especially in the first coat, put it in a different container. Okay? Put it in a different container. You won't, because some of this stain's going to come off and it's going to get into your stuff, so you don't want to ruin your whole can of polyurethane. Another thing, Cubs lost, season's over, bottoms up. Get a decent brush. I paid, I think, 12 bucks for this brush. It's not the most expensive brush you can get, but it's pretty nice. And on the first coat, you can just kind of slop it on a little bit. The second one's a little different, but this one, start on the side, because this coat's going to get sanded out. There's videos you can watch that get like super deep into polyurethane and how to make a perfect coat. We don't need that here. Not on a coffee table. Like I said, if you're doing like a really nice shelf or something, and when I'm done with this, after the second or third coat, it's going to be really nice. The first coat though, mostly soaks into the wood. You got to sand all the high spots off, so it's the final coat that you have to really worry about. And we'll talk about that when I do the final coat. This one, just do the middle first. I know anybody who knows how to do this is probably cursing themselves, going, why is he just flopping on there like paint? It's because it's the first coat. It doesn't matter. Just get a bunch on there. The other thing about this is cure time. I take them inside in the house in the air conditioning because in Florida, it is super humid and it never dries out here. The first coat also takes a little bit longer to dry because it soaks into the stain, and the stain kind of goos it up a little bit. So you let it sit for a day, then sand it, and do your second coat. Your second coat will dry way faster. And so when you do it like this, you do get air bubbles. You get a bunch of them. But like I said, I'm going to sand that out anyway. So not really that big a deal. I generally do 3 coats. I saw some stuff today at Walmart, which is basically a 3 coat in 1 deal. I don't know about that because generally I want my polyurethane as thin as I can get it, and that stuff's got to be thick as hell. So stick to the normal stuff. You'll be good. Then after you do the top stuff, make sure that you don't have any runs on the sides. And run it towards the bottom so you don't have any drips on the bottom. Because you will. Grab it carefully. Over. Notice I got it on a couple 2x4s so that you can get the edges. Then get this side. You're going to need some paint thinner to clean your brush. This stuff doesn't clean off with either does the stain. You need paint thinner to clean your brushes for a stain and polyurethane. With the chalk paint, you just use soap and water. And after this first coat, when you look at it tomorrow, you're gonna be like, ew, kind of not awesome. But after you sand it down with that sponge, the sanding sponges that I showed you, do another coat, and then I'll show you there's a wipe-on polyurethane that I'm going to do at the end. That makes it look perfect. But this keeps all the water, like if you spill your drink, it won't get in the cracks and wood have the wood expand on you or anything like that. So makes it really nice. And that's it. Okay. Maybe the Bears won't disappoint me this year, but they probably will. Okay, this is the top that I polyurethane last night. It sat for a whole day, and I just got done sanding it. Extra fine sanding sponge, just go over it. Not too hard because you'll burn through the first coat of polyurethane, so you don't want to get into your stain because it'll kind of lighten that up. The other thing is after you do that, these microfiber cloths get them a little damp. Sometimes you don't have to do that when they're brand new, but these are great because they don't evenly lint. So just go over it, get all the dust off. Make sure you don't have any lint, sawdust, stuff laying around. This isn't going to be the last coat, so it still doesn't have to be perfect, but we're trying to get kind of close. The second coat, remember, put it in a different container and take it out of the can. Be a little more careful on this one. I start in the back. I watched a guy do a polyurethane video, and it took him 20 minutes to start painting. I don't do that. I think I mentioned that last night. Just try to do slow stroke. Supposed to get it like a 45-degree angle on your brush, and if you get bubbles, we'll work them out. That's the big complaint about polyurethane is you get bubbles. Just try to get a lot of paint on your brush, or a lot of polyurethane on your brush. If you can't see very well, once you think you're done with a spot, get into a good light where you can kind of see the reflection, and make sure you don't have any dry spots. Because if you do one board at a time, you can still go back and fix some stuff. So over here, kind of take a look. Got some spots there. And just try to smooth them out. If you get a dry spot, it's not that big a deal. It's just easier if you don't. See, I'm a little bit more careful on this one. And I try to stick to the middle boards first, and then I'll get the ends. But when you're doing a coffee table, get your top done kind of early because it's going to take 3 days to get it polyurethaned and dried. And you don't want to have to deliver something that's still wet. That's annoying. Alright, I won't torture you anymore. I'll show you when it's done. There you have it. So this is a satin finish, so it's not going to dry quite this shiny, but I'm going to take it inside because it's humid here, and humidity will mess with this thing and it'll never dry. So if you can get it inside under like your ceiling fan or something, it'll dry way faster. I've had them not dry at all because it was so humid. So try to get it inside. If you can't, leave it out here. There's also a lot less dust inside, so trying to keep dust off of it as much as possible, just like a car paint. And I might have got lucky. This is pretty good. I might not need a third coat, but we won't know until tomorrow. Okay?